Let's look at this question. National Institute of Management, Lucknow conducts its entrance test called National Admission Test for admission to its flagship 2-year MBA course. The QA section of NAT 2018 had 34 questions, all of which were multiple choice format questions. Following was the marking scheme for NAT 2018. Each correct answer fetched 12 marks. There was negative marking for incorrect answers. For each incorrect answer, 4 marks were deducted from the score of a student. So for correct answers, you got plus 12. For wrong answers, you got minus 4. Additionally, there was a progressive penalty for skipped questions, as specified in the table below. So for 0 to 4 skipped questions, there was no penalty. 0 to 4. From 5 to 8, you got minus 1 per question. Okay. Now, this can lead to a confusion whether for all the 5 questions you get minus 1 or for only the additional question of the 5th one that you have skipped, you get minus 1. That is clarified in the statement after. For example, a student who skipped 6 questions lost 0 into 4 plus 1 into 6 minus 4 or 2 marks on account of these 6 questions. So for skipped questions, you can lose 1 to 4 marks for 5 to 8 skipped. Of course, this is in negative. Well, the dash in between 1 and 4 could be confusing. So we'll write minus 1, 2 to 4. Then for 9 to 12, you lose 2 marks per question. So if you skip 9 questions, you will get 6 to 14. 4 to minus 8, sorry, 6 to 12. If you got 12 questions wrong, you will get 4 into 1, 24. Yes, 6 to 12. Then for 13 to 16, you get 3 additional. So 3 into 4, 12. So 24, 15 to minus 15 to 24. And then 17 to 34 skipped questions. 18 more. 18 into 4 is 72. So you get to 96 in the worst case and 28 in the best case in this range. These are the penalties for skipped questions, and I've gone ahead and written down precise penalties that you get for skipped questions. Precise penalties that you get for skipped questions. Here, at the rate of additional minus 1 per question, or at the rate of additional minus 2 per question, here at the rate of additional minus 3 per question, and here at the rate of additional minus 4 per question. This is the scoring pattern or the scoring scheme that has been informed to us. The exam is computerized and the questions are presented to students one at a time. Once a student sees the question, he or she only has 2 options before seeing the next question. Either attempt the question or skip the question. After a student attempts or skips a question, the next question is presented and she is not able to visit the questions that are already attempted or skipped. So once you move on from first question to the second question, you cannot go back to the first question. Okay. All the questions that a student is unable to answer in the stipulated time of 1 hour are considered to be skipped by the student. For example, if a student is able to answer only 30 questions in the section at the end of 1 hour, the remaining 4 questions in the section are considered to be skipped by the student. So you can actively skip a question, or if you don't manage to see a question at all, that is also considered to be skipped. Okay, cumulative score of a student at the end of each question, considering the penalty on account of incorrect and skipped questions, is calculated. For example, if a student gets 1 answer correct, 1 answer incorrect, and skips 1 question of the first 3, his or her cumulative score at the end of the third question will be 12 minus 4 minus 0 is equal to 8. Similarly, the total score of a student at the end of the stipulated time is calculated after deducting the marks on account of penalty for the questions that were not visited by the student and hence were considered to be skipped. So during the course of a test, We are not taking into account the questions skipped that have not been listed so far. But after the end of the test, the questions that have not been listed, they will also be considered as skipped. So this is what we have. Okay. First question. Which of the following cannot be a valid cumulative score that a student could have obtained at the end of 10 questions in that section? Remember, this is during the course of the test. So we are only looking at questions, these 10 questions. Total number of questions seen will only be for these 10 questions. Okay. Now, if we are told which of these cannot be a valid cumulative score, we have also been told there will be three scores out of these that would be considered valid. So even if I can find one, if I can find one valid score, then I can do some manipulation. Let's look at 43. My positive total, see, correct should be giving me more than 43. The first case I can see is if I had 4 correct, which will give me 48 marks, then I have some wrong and then I have some skipped. For wrong, I get 1 wrong, I get -4 from here. And for skipped, I have 5, and I get -1 from here. So yes, 43 can be made. 43 is simple. 43 is possible and therefore cannot be the answer. Then let's look at 34. 34, what if I get 3 correct, 36? Now, even if I get one wrong, I'll go down to 32, which is not required, which cannot be done. So I don't do wrong, I do remaining as skipped. But then this will give me -3, which gets me down to 33. And 33 is not my target score, it is 34. I am unable to get to 34 right now. That does not mean 34 is my answer. What I will instead do is, I will leave it be for the time being and see if I can make a 27. Now for 27, see, for every correct question, that turns wrong, can you see, previously you were getting +12, now you're getting -4. Can you see your score will come down by 16? And the wonderful thing between 43 and 27 is, for every correct question that turns wrong, you will reduce your score by 16. So for 3, 2, and 5, this will get you 36, this will get you -8, this will get you -1. Yes, this is very much possible. So this also cannot be the answer. This also cannot be the answer. Okay. Next thing you can potentially see, for every wrong question that turns skipped, can you see your total score will increase by 3 right now? Your total score will increase by 3 right now, because for that question, previously we were getting -4. Now you will get only -1. So your score should increase by 3. So for 3, 1, and 6, what would happen? You would have 36 here, you would have -4 here, you would have -2 here, and you can get to 30 also. So 27 is possible, 43 is possible, 30 is possible. Therefore, 30 is not the answer to the question. And by extension, the only option left is 34, and that is done. Absolutely wonderful. Let us now look at the second question. For the second question, which of the following can be a valid score that a student could have obtained in the section if it is known that he or she attempted 28 questions in that section? Now, when we know the person has attempted 28 questions, we also know he has skipped 6 questions. And for skipping 6 questions, he gets a -2. For skipped questions, he's getting a -2. So now, the next thing we have to do is, we know, let's say the number of correct questions he attempts is X, the number of incorrect questions he attempts is Y. X plus Y is 28, and checking through options, we have 12X minus 4Y is either equal to 64 or 76 or 88 or 100. In whichever case we get X and Y is integral, that will be the acceptable case. So first thing I can do is I can actually divide the entire equation by 4. I'll get 3x minus y is equal to 16 or 19 or 22 or 25. Now, look at this equation and look at the different cases of this equation. If I add up the LHS, I will get 4x. So my RHS upon adding up should also give me 4x. 28 plus 16 happily gives me 44. 28 plus 19 gives me 47. 28 plus 22 gives me 50. 28 plus 25 gives me 53. Can you see the last three numbers, 47, 50, and 53, are not even divisible by 4, which means these are impossible cases. If these are impossible cases, what is an acceptable final score that can be obtained by the student? That is simply option A. Okay. Now let's look at something more fun. The next question. It is known that a student scored exactly 100 marks in the section. Now, if he scored exactly 100 marks in the question, let his correct questions be X, let his wrong questions be Y, and his skipped questions be Z. So now, 12x minus 4y minus A times of Z, or the different possibilities of minus scores that he can get, is equal to 100, as instructed to us by the question. Additionally, we know x plus y plus z is equal to 34. Now see the wonderful thing. 12x is a multiple of 4. 4y is a multiple of 4. 100 is a multiple of 4. Therefore, the marks lost. Due to skipped questions should also be a multiple of 4. Now, how many questions can be skipped so that the marks lost is a multiple of 4? It can be either 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, the first band. In the second band, the only possible number of questions skipped can be 8. In the third band, the number of possible questions skipped should be either 10 or 12. In the fourth band, the only acceptable number of questions skipped will be 16. And in the final band, anything from 17 to 34 is acceptable. Only when questions skipped are some of these numbers, one of these numbers, do we get a total score that is a multiple of 4. Otherwise, the total score will not be a multiple of 4. Okay. Now, this question asks me, what can be the maximum number of questions that the student could have attempted? If we're looking for maximum number of attempted questions, we're also looking for minimum number of skipped questions. Minimum skipped would refer to this region. Minimum skipped would refer to this region. So let's say here, this gets me a 0 negative for each of these cases. For 8 questions, I get minus 4 as negative. For 10 or 12, I get how much? Minus 8 and minus 12. For 16, I get minus 24. And here on out, I get minus 28 to minus 96. Given that I'm looking for minimum number of wrong, so the first case I'm checking is this band 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can create 12x minus 4y and skipped has no impact at all, this is getting me to 100, or 3x minus y is equal to 25. Let's get possible solution sets here. X being equal to 9, y being equal to 2 works. But if x and y are 9 and 2, then z is not going to be in the range 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Correspondingly, I can also figure out value of z, 9 and 2. So z will be 23. This is not a great case for us. Okay. How about this goes up by 1, this goes up by 3. So 10 and 5. This will get me to 19. Again, not a great case. I want my z to be within this range. If I get z within this range, that is an acceptable case. Let's go further. 11 and 8, 19 gone. So 15 left. 12 and 11. So 11 now. Hopefully by now, even when you're generating these cases, can you see Z is coming down? Z is coming down in steps of 4, X is going up in steps of 1, Y is going up in steps of 3. So that will enable you to get to the next case fairly quickly. Sorry, 13 and 14. This gets me to 7. No. And finally, 14 and 17. This is great. Now, if you try to create the next case, it will be 15, 20, and -1. You cannot have skipped questions as -1. This is an unacceptable case. But for 14 correct, and 17 incorrect, for 14 correct and 17 incorrect, and 3 skipped, you can get to a score of 100. And this is the maximum number of questions attempted. Why this is the maximum number of questions attempted? We checked at the bottom extreme band. And here itself we have found the case. For any other case that we engage in checking for, of course, the number of skipped questions is going to be higher. So we can't have that. Therefore, the maximum number of questions the student could have attempted is 31. This gets us to 31. Okay. Now, the same working, same setup is utilized for the next question as well. Just that this time, what can be the minimum number of questions that a student could have attempted either correctly or incorrectly in this section, right? 35, it is not possible to score 100 in this section. Again, if we are getting to 100, the penalty on account of skipped questions has to be a multiple of 4. The penalty on account of skipped questions has to be a multiple of 4. But this time we want minimum number of questions attempted, so maximum number of skipped questions. So let's say maximum number of skipped questions were something in this range. This bottom band we are checking. This bottom band, -28 to -96. We don't have to check for every iteration, but let's see. If it was -28, we'll get 12x minus 4y minus 28 is equal to 100, or 12x minus 4y is equal to 128, or 3x minus y is equal to how much? This divided 25 plus 7, 32. Okay. Now remember, this time Z we have taken as 17 already. So how much will y turn to? Y will turn to I know x plus y has to be equal to 17 also. If z is already 17, then x plus y has to be 17. Now using these two, we get 4x is equal to 49. This does not give us an acceptable case at all because x will turn out to be in decimals. So 17 skipped is not the answer. How about 18 skipped? If 18 skips happen, then we would have 12x minus 4y minus 32 is equal to 100. This gets us to 132 divided by 3. How much was it? 33. And now we get 4x is equal to 4x is equal to how much? X plus y is equal to 18. We got to know. If 18 is wrong, if z is 18, then x plus y has to be equal to 16. Again, 4x is equal to 49. And this is an unacceptable case. I can't really have this. In fact, with a few iterations, you will see what is happening. When z rises, x plus y. See, if z is rising, x plus y is going down, and then 3x minus y is going up. So let's see if we can do it for 19. If it is 19, we'll get minus 36 here, 136 here. 136 divided by 4 is 34. This is 19 now. Skipped questions are 19. So 3x. Oh, I keep forgetting the framework. X plus y is equal to 15. 4x is equal to 49. Can you see, if you take any case within this band, 17 to 34, if you take any case within this band, your 4x is always turning out to be 49. Just in order to be absolutely certain, let us take the absolute worst case where you have skipped 34 questions. Where you skipped 34 questions, when you skipped 34 questions, can you see x and y will have to be 0 then? And if x and y are 0, 3x minus y cannot be equal to a positive number. So that case is anywhere ruled out. So this is an unacceptable band to be operating in. This band becomes untenable for us. And then let's go to the next band. If there were 16 questions that were skipped, so we'll have this, then we'll have 3x 3x minus y is equal to 25 plus 6, 31. And if 16 questions are skipped, 18 is left. So x plus y is equal to 18. Again, there is a challenge. 4x is equal to 49. We can't have this, which means even this band is unacceptable to us. We can't have a case there. Then let's go one further back. Let's have 12 incorrect. 12 incorrect gets us to minus 12. Minus 12. So 3x minus y is equal to 28. 12 if I remove, I get x plus y is equal to 22, which gets me to 4x is equal to 50. Again, unacceptable, impossible. We can't really have this. Let us go one further back. Let's look at 10 then. For 10, sorry, it will, for 10 skipped, you get minus 8. So you get minus 8. Additionally, 3y minus 20, 3x minus y and x plus y. They will also change. 4x will also change. 3x minus y will turn to 27. X plus y, 10 have been skipped, will turn to 24. 4x will turn to 51. Then both these cases have become untenable. Now, let us do it for the band prior to it. Let us do it for the band prior to it. 8 and minus 4. So let's see, we're getting minus 4. So we get 3x minus 4y. No, not 4y. 3x minus y is equal to 26. 3x minus y is equal to 26. Additionally, we also get x plus y is equal to 26. If z is 8, then x plus y is equal to 26. We add it all up, we get 4x is equal to 52, which is an acceptable case. X will be equal to 13, y will be equal to 13, and skipped z will be equal to it. Can you see, even though you start checking from the bottom, this is the first spot where you will get an acceptable case. So the minimum number of questions the student could have attempted correctly or incorrectly is going to be 26 questions. At 26 questions, he can still obtain a score of 100. Okay. And that is all for this set. That is all for this set. Another way you could have potentially arrived at this solution. Hopefully we remember from the previous question, x, y, z. We had 14 correct, 17 incorrect, and 3 skipped. For every question that gets moved from x to y, for every question that gets moved from x to y, you lose 16. But no, this movement based thing is fairly impossible for non-number theory aficionados to understand. So this is good enough. That will be all for this question. Hopefully you learned something. Stopping the recording.